Hi there and welcome to the Clutter Corner, where today we're going to be talking about taxes. Now, the rule of thumb is for every box of stuff that we bring in, we're going to get rid of one box. So if we're bringing in a box from the storage unit, we're going to get rid of one box. And you can always get rid of more if you like, but the rule is if you bring one in, you're going to get rid of one. Now, we're approaching tax season, and every year I keep all of my tax records in one box. And then I save one box in storage so that I have a 10 years record. So it goes back 10 years. And now we're getting rid of 2011 because I'm bringing in 2021, which is 10 years later. Okay, now, and we're actually moving to a paperless office. So this will probably be the last year that we have a new box that we're bringing in. But I wanted to go through this with you. Now, the first rule of thumb when you come to the clutter corner and you're getting rid of stuff is you have to alert everyone around you that you are going to be working. And that way they don't interrupt you and you can have uninterrupted time in order to do the clutter corner. You want to alert everyone. Now, it happens to be in the middle of a business day. And so in order for my team and my family to know that I am working, I put on this apron. This apron means don't interrupt me, I'm working. As long as I'm wearing the apron, that means I'm on task working. The next thing that I'm going to wear is I'm going to wear some just nitrile gloves. And you don't need gloves for this project because this is just a paper project. But I'm going to be processing a lot of paper in the next few minutes and I don't want to get any paper cuts. And also I don't want to get the dust and whatever from the paper and just paper, whatever, ink, whatever on my fingers. So I'm going to go ahead and put gloves on and that's going to help me just process, like the licking of the fingers and turning the pages. This will let me do that really quickly. So it's going to be an efficiency tool. And then also I'm going to probably need some reading glasses. And it's just because I don't want to throw away anything that's of value. Right now, what I'm going to do before I put these on, I've got a paper shredder here. And I have another video that I will link to in the show notes about how to manage paper in your home office. And I will link to it so that you can figure out the 3 ways that we save and manage paper. One of them is using a paper shredder. And for this project, it would be ideal to shred the documents so that there's no trace of any of my tax records anywhere. But because we're short on time today, I'm actually going to take the papers that we process and instead of throwing them away, I'm going to take them out in the backyard and we're going to put them in the fire pit and I'm going to light them on fire. And that way it's like shredding them, but instead of it going to a landfill, the smoke will just go up into the universe and hopefully it's not too terrible for the universe because I'm burning paper. So we're not going to be using this today just because of time. So I'm going to take this off the table for now. All right, now, do you like how I did that? I just made a decision based on time. And so while we do have the paper shredder available to us, sometimes you're going to make decisions based on the time you have available to you. All right, I'm going to put my glasses on and now we're in business. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look at what I have and do I need it? Now I know that everything in this box is at least 10 years old, so I probably don't need any of it again. What I'm looking for is I'm looking for anything like the deed to a house or a warranty to a product I still have or something like that that might require me saving it. But for the most part, we're just going to chunk all this stuff. And for this, I just have a regular garbage bag. So I'm going to put it inside a garbage bag as fast as I possibly can. We're not going to make any heavy-duty decisions on this as we go because, like I said, most of this is old stuff that we're not going to be using. And unless it's the deed to a house or something that's really important, it's okay if I toss it. So I've got an old CD, and those are donations. And this is a Honda. I've got in here Honda statements, Honda payments. We don't need that. I've got reviews. These are client and customer reviews that had attachments to them. We've got research for research and development, receipts. We don't need that. LA Fitness. We don't need that. Printing receipts. Those are for brochures. We don't need that. What I will say is I'm calling these off. If you're a small business, you might want to write the names down. Printing, because some of these are tax deductible deductions. Postage, we don't need the receipts for that. Piedmont Natural Gas, nope, those are gas bills for the office, don't need that. Payroll, no, you don't need that. Everyone's been paid. MasterCard receipts. Yep, those are just monthly statements. We don't need that. And we've got payments for another Honda we had. Don't need that. Insurance for the vehicles, company vehicles. Don't need that. Mortgage payments. I'm going to pull this out to make sure that there's no bank note. Yeah, no, there's not. We're good. Putting that in there. Advertising expenses. We're good on that. Income statements. No, we're good on that. Office equipment. Nope, there are no warranties in that. We're good. MasterCard. Nope, we're good on that. One of the notes about the credit cards, if you're putting everything now into QuickBooks, which is what we're doing, everything should check out. And so all we have here in these pages are the backups where we did double checks. And if you do your accounting we do ours on Sunday. It takes about 15 minutes on Sunday. It gives us a chance to, I've got groceries here, and that's not a tax deduction, it's just in here. And the security for the business security. This year we drove a Ford for the business, a Ford Fusion. That's a company car. And we had a Chrysler Pacifica. Those are all the service records for that. It's great to keep the service records in case you should ever sell the car. You can prove that you did that. Company health insurance. Nope, we all lived, we survived, don't need that. American Express. That's my biggest bill every month is American Express. And they've been incredibly good to work with small businesses. This is, nope, medical stuff. Charitable receipts. Save your charitable receipts because they are tax deductible as a business. Clothing. This is uniform clothing for the business. More clothing. Travel. Back in the days, we saved all of the, this is kind of cool, we saved all of the air flight tickets in case we had to prove that we actually took the trips that we said we did. All right, more educational expenses. That's education and research. If you are in training or you are researching, that is tax deductible. Home Depot receipts. If you guys do special projects and you buy electric drills and drill brushes and stuff, that's all tax deductible. More company grocery stuff. This is, we have snacks and stuff here at the office, like a coffee bar and stuff. If you have a coffee bar in your office, or if you provide snacks or whatever for your cleaners, keep a record of that because that is tax deductible. All right, that goes. Promotions. Yes, any advertising and promotions that you do, those are tax deductible. And more postage. So if you're mailing out brochures or you're doing direct mail costs, that's also tax deductible. This year we had a Sebring for the business. That was more of a sedan car. And bank statements that are no longer good. And the reason that I go through this is sometimes somebody might pop something in the box, but if they don't pop something in the box, most of this can just be tossed. I do like to give it one more set of eyes just to make sure that I'm not throwing away something that's, somebody put in something valuable or tucked some money in here or something like that. All right, equipment. This is printing. It could be something like this printer that I have over here. It could be computer equipment, more income statements. These are now all done on QuickBooks. Life insurance, if you offer life insurance to your employees, or medical insurance, that's where you keep track of that. If you have a business storefront and you have to pay for the landscaping out front, those are also tax deductible costs. If you have FMLA or you have medical bills that you pay for employees, or if there are on-the-job injuries, you want to keep track of that as well. All right, more medical. That looks empty. Memberships, yes. All right, so if you're a member of the Chamber of Commerce or the Better Business Bureau or any of those, that's also tax deductible as your memberships. Check with your accountant to make sure that the memberships that you're applying to are tax deductible. And we got more bank statements. and more MasterCard statements. And a Rolodex of new friends, customers, and clients we met. These are the worksheets that we keep track of from our customers. Savings account. Yep, those records can be burned. We've either saved the money or we've spent it or reinvested it. Business supplies, that can go in here. This is domain hosting. And so if you have domain hosting or you have website stuff, that all needs to be, oh, this is really cool. I kind of want to save this for nostalgic reasons, and this is important to know. This is an old home that we used to have, and we sold the home. And this is a little brochure that the realtor put together of our original home that we bought when we were married. Oh, this is so close to my heart. So I'm going to get rid of everything in the box, but I think I'm going to hang on to this just for good memories. And I'll show it to my husband when he gets home from work. I'm going to throw the rest of the specs for the house away. And we'll take a good look at it, and we'll have a drink of apple cider, and we'll toast to our first home together. Again, we've got more travel receipts that year. These are all of the airline tickets that I took training house cleaners across the country. So like I said, I had to prove my trips because I was, yeah. All right, so we got that going for us, and I got a couple more of those in here. Look, here's another one. More airline tickets. More and more airline tickets. These are all my boarding passes. Back in the days when they printed out paper boarding passes, and even the airlines now have gone paperless. So we don't need that anymore. Cable. If you have cable and you're using the cable, this was our internet access, that's also tax deductible. So you want to save a record of that. Travel. No way. I still have more travel. I must have traveled a lot that year. Check this out. All my boarding passes from the airlines. Woo. There was a period of time I was traveling just every week all over the country, and that was long before COVID, but 2011, that was the year. All right, the water bill, that's water if you have water going into your business. Union dues, if you're part of a union. I'm part of the Communication Workers of America union. Union Power Cooperative, that's going to be the power for the business. And then, of course, smartphone bills. If you have smartphone bills and web hosting, that goes in here as well. Okay, and utilities and credit cards, and then my warranties. All right, so you can see how quickly I went through this box, and I made really quick, fast decisions. I didn't get involved in most of the stuff there because, like, I sorted through the airline tickets because that brings back lots of memories of a time where I traveled a lot. I stopped with the house brochure. That was the first house we ever bought. And so that was really fun for me that I was able to say that. And I think this was the year that we paid it off, is why I have this brochure here, and we sold that. So it brought back some nostalgia. And if I went through all of this, it would probably bring me nostalgia as well. So you wanna brief through it really fast. You don't want to linger on anything any longer than necessary. And you need to decide what you're going to do with it before you do it. And I've already decided I'm going to go out and burn this. And so this is the next step. I've hung on to one thing here, and these are the warranties that from 2008. And I hung on to them. I saved them for another year or two. And I'm going to look through this real quick. I've got JVC stuff. This is going to be headphones or technology or whatever. And I no longer have any of that technology. I've got a weight bench for a bench that I still have, and this is actually the owner's manual. I'm going to save this a little bit longer, and not because I need the warranty, but if I ever should sell that weight bench, which could be sooner than later, I would want that as a reference that I could give whoever purchases that, because it's still in like new condition and has been well taken care of. All right, so this is my bundle. And now my box is empty. So for my recycling, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn my box around, and I'm going to write 2021 on it, and I'm going to recycle my banker's box. And I'm going to put these two items back inside my box so that I can have them. When I go to meet with my husband about the accounting for 2021, then we will look at those other two things and we'll go, booyah. And then it won't take up any more time and it won't take up any more space. We'll just recycle this box for this coming year. Now there is one notebook here, and I will share this with you real quick. When we do the taxes, we file the taxes with TurboTax, but I do make a printout just in case the internet ever went bad and I couldn't access my information. And these are my tax records for a year at a glance with all of the breakdowns for the business. And this becomes really important when you sit down and you try to figure out what you spent next year against what you spent this year. This is all electronic now. They have pie charts and graphs and everything on QuickBooks. But this makes it really super easy for just verifying what you did year to year. And then at the front of this, I have W-2s and 1099s from companies, you know, if we had jobs or if we were employed by somebody or if a customer was charging us for that. This was important then. It's not important now. I'm going to go ahead and save the binder so that we have a binder to put 2021's records in. And I'm going to pull these out and all these go inside the file. All right, and that is it for today's Clutter Corner. Now I'm going to run outside and I'm going to go ahead and burn this bag of stuff just because it does have sensitive information in it. And then we're done for the day. That whole process took just a few minutes. And it gave us a chance to get rid of one box of stuff that was in our lives. So as far as paper goes, paper is something people hang on to a lot. And this is a chance for us to just go ahead and get rid of it without making a lot of heavy-duty decisions about what's inside. All right, I hope that helps. If it does, give us a thumbs up. If you got questions or comments, those go in the notes below. Make sure you watch this next video on how to manage your paper inside your home office. And until we meet again, leave the world a cleaner place than when you found it.